know this debate means a lot to members of the LGBT plus community in my constituency and across the UK. I'm really pleased to hear the reflections and recognition of the incredible achievements of LGBT plus people throughout history and the remarkable fight for equality and end to discrimination. But sadly, we all know that that fight is not yet over, and there's still a substantial way to go before LGBT plus people are free to live and love without prejudice. So I also want to congratulate my honourable friend Ribeiro Gateshead for her victory at the Council of Europe, passing the report on banning conversion therapy, particularly because one of the steps that this government and the previous one has so far failed to take in terms of ending discrimination is the introduction of a complete trans-inclusive ban on LGBT plus conversion therapy, a vile practice that is better described as a form of torture towards LGBT plus people. We said so-called conversion therapy is abuse, there is no other word for it, so Labour will finally deliver a full trans-inclusive ban on conversion practices while protecting the freedom for people to explore their sexual orientation and gender identity. Those were the words in our 2024 manifesto. Words that I was pleased to take to the electorate, and I was proud to hear the promise reiterated in the King's speech. Yet, almost 2 years on, we are still awaiting the draft Conversion Practices Bill. And for every day this legislation is delayed, LGBT plus people are subjected to medical, psychiatric, psychological, religious and cultural and other abusive interventions that seek to change or cure or suppress their sexual orientation and or gender identity. A person's sexual orientation or gender identity is not something that needs to be cured, nor is it something that should be suppressed. There's nothing wrong with being lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, or identifying with any other way that comes under the LGBT plus umbrella. And it seems like we're taking steps back in terms of equality to have to state this in 2026. But it is necessary because conversion practices have not been banned in their entirety, and they seek to say otherwise. They seek to tell LGBT plus people that their identity is wrong when this is simply untrue. Now, it's not uncommon for individuals to question or explore their sexual orientation or gender identity and seek guidance and support from their friends, family, or even religious leaders. But it has always irked me when people attempt to use faith in these arguments, especially when I think of what Jesus' final commandment was, which was quite simply to love one another. I've never understood how you can love someone whilst discriminating against them at the same time. Conversion therapy is not supportive, it is not affirming, it is not therapeutic. It is a one-directional practice that seeks to force LGBT plus people to change their sexual orientation or gender identity through pseudo-scientific counselling sessions, threats, corrective rape, being prayed over as a form of healing, and even exorcisms. These practices do nothing to make a person straight or cisgender. In fact, all they do is cause immense psychological and physical harm. And for every day this legislation is delayed, the practice continues, and LGBT plus people are at risk of these vile conversion practices being offered or forced onto them. Now, the previous government promised to bring in the ban, they delayed and U-turned and ultimately failed to introduce one. Now, I'm sure it's not a spoiler for me to say that I'm sure the government will deliver on its manifesto commitment, and I look forward to the Minister's response, particularly because I know that she is someone who has long campaigned on these issues. But the urgent question that I would like her to answer is when.